Welcome to Center Heist Productions. We got an interesting video today. Please hit the like and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly would appreciate that. Share it with your friends and family, and also share it with whomever online you'd like to share it with. That would help the channel muchly, and I would appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. The growth of the channel is we've been very dedicated here at Center Heist to make it an integral Habs channel for you. As you know, stick to break news that actually transpires, not rumors. That's kind of been my one of my pet peeves. So I'd rather stick to that. I'm not a person that likes gossip. So, anywho, let's get to it. This was a very, and I know my videos from last night's review is a little later, but I was waiting kind of a combination. I'm in the process of a move. It's going to be probably a couple month long process. So bear with me. Uh, Got to kind of jump on the videos when I free up. And yes, I was also waiting for the news on Kirby Doc, which all got now. So the news on Kirby Doc, we all got it. Season season-ending injury on his right knee, which is believed to be the same knee that he had the ACL MCL repaired on. So to me, that's a sign of very very bad news. I've really been one of those guys that tried to be in Kirby's corner and be patient with the process. I guess now I've lost faith in that whole process, and with the knee, an injury to that same knee, he's definitely evidently injury prone, and he's not this season as we've seen him come back from that major surgery. He never got to the point we expected, uh, where he was playing he was playing quite well. That's why I say a lot of people are forgetting he was playing quite at a high level before that injury in Montreal. Problem is, we were expecting more growth, him to be at a different level, so he's way behind the eight ball. Unfortunately, he never seemed to get out of the gates this year after coming back from that injury. I mean, he was showing some progress in the last, I would say, month and a half, but not where everybody wants him to be. And I would have to say, with this crushing news, I'm sorry, I've lost all faith in that scenario myself. I don't foresee Kirby being, unfortunately, and I like the guy, but I have to say, my faith is gone in that scenario too, and I don't think he's going to be a part of this team after next season. I just don't see him revitalizing and getting back to where he was. I just think it's one too many injuries, and it's evident. That's two players for sure that now that are showing they're very prone, and that's him and Gooley. However, Gooley has always managed to come back full tilt, but you can't, same thing. You got to keep your eye on that too, because although that was a freak accident, that last one, but if that continues too, like I told you, there were four players we're gonna have to keep our eyes on, and that's two of them. Anyway, so sad story. Just to let everyone know, unfortunately, that news broke with Kent Hughes and Kirby doing, a public. Uh, what do you want to call it? Questionnaire or anyway, so that came out. Habs took care of that. Not good news. However, he wasn't playing up to snuff yet anyway, so I think it could be a kind of a blessing in disguise for Owen Beck while he's auditioning, because Owen's looked fairly well in the last couple of games. All right, now, sorry that so this is going to be a little bit longer. Now we're going to get to the review. Last night's game. Let's get to it. Montreal manages to win in overtime 4-3 over the Sharks, who were in town. That's right there should send alarm bells out. This is games against them that Montreal struggled. This is the last place team in the league. Now, I know I mean, we know there's a couple players, that look pretty darn good on that club, right? I mean, they got a number one draft pick, last year, right? Celebrini, who looks fabulous. Will Smith, he looks good. So they got a bright future, but they're nowhere near being where they need to be, and we barely squeaked out of a victory over them. Didn't like that scenario. I warned of it that Montreal needed to keep their foot on the gas. And last night did not look like they kept the foot on the gas. To me, they looked a bit like old habits were creeping in. That's what I seen. So we managed to come back and win the game. That's a good thing. And what a beautiful goal by Cole Caulfield. All right, let's get to it now. The stats, get them out of the way. 2 goals apiece in the first, which was good that Montreal managed to come back and tie that up. But San Jose manages to pull ahead in the second period with 1 goal to none over the Habs. Montreal manages to get a goal in the third period, even the thing up, send it to overtime. And we were pressing. We almost won it in regulation. Anyway, it goes to OT. And what a beautiful, gorgeous goal by Cole Caulfield, who just undressed Celebrini, and then the goaltender, Georgiev, as well. What a gorgeous! I mean, that was just beautiful. I mean, you got to play that over and over. That's just unreal. I love the talent of Nicole, just gorgeous. Anyway, Montembeault gets the victory. Georgiev lost, and Georgiev played a strong game in this. Cole Caulfield gets a winning goal. Let's get to it. Cole Caulfield scored a 3:21 into overtime for the Montreal Canadiens, who beat the San Jose Sharks 4-3 Thursday night for their third straight victory. That's a good sign since the Four Nations face-off break. Caulfield put the puck between his legs to get around Macklin Celebrini and Alexander Georgiev with a shot over his right pad. Caulfield leads the Canadians with 28 goals. Montreal captain, what a game by Nick Suzuki. Montreal captain Nick Suzuki scored 2 first-period goals, and Alex Newhook had his first goal since February 4th. Monty made 22 saves for his third win in a row. Now that I got a little bit of a current concern here. If they're going to keep sitting Dobish, why not send him back to the AHL? Because why make him suffer? He's got to start. That would have been the ideal game for him to play. So I didn't like that decision. And again, there were some things I didn't like with this game. So, and that, let's go to 3 stars. Undoubtedly, Nick Suzuki was phenomenal in this game. He definitely deserved first star. 2 goals and an assist, +2. He was Superman last night. I wish he had got the hat trick. Second star, Cole Caulfield, goal and assist, +2. That was such a gorgeous goal. He deserved that. And Will Smith had a strong game for um, San Jose with 1 goal and 1 assist at an even plus minus. Let's start it off with the scoring summary. 356, Fabian Zetterlund gets a goal assisted by Smith and Wenberg. And then 649, Nick Suzuki gets another one after a beautiful play, which defensively, Yuri Slavkovsky made that play happen with that poke check and breaking up the play, that which ended up going up to uh, Cole Caulfield. They go in on a 2-on-1, and Nick Suzuki, of course, buries it for his 17th goal of the season. Gorgeous goal. At 12:38, Nico Sturm scored, assisted by Constant and Colin Graff. And then Montreal came back with Nick Suzuki scoring again with a beautiful little play in the opposite in San Jose's end. And Lane Hudson had an assist, continuing his streak. And Struble got an assist on it. Then we went to the second period where Will Smith scored, put them the Sharks back ahead, but assisted by Makahamba Boldin. I can't say Makahamba Dulin, whatever you want to call that, and Weinberg. Pardon me for butchering it, but that's the way it goes. So they had a 3-2 lead going into the third, whereas with 2:22 is very quickly into the third. Alex Newhook got great tic-tac-toe play. Owen Beck starts it up by great forechecking. He gets nailed, but still makes the play by taking the hit. Gets it out to Lonnie, who he was hoping that Lonnie would bury it, but Lonnie didn't get the shot off. It kind of was a misplay by him, but went in the direction of Newhook, who had the side open and buried it. Good goal. Gorgeous. Nice play by them, but I love that play by Beck. That's the type of thing you got to be willing to put it all on the line, and Beck was willing, and I really did. I've liked his play since he's been in there. He's been working hard and using some physicality. 321, Cole Caulfield gets that gorgeous goal in overtime, assisted by Suzuki and Montembeau, who didn't. It looked like Monty was going to cover that up for a whistle, and he played that beautifully, getting into Nick, and Nick, of course, gives it to Caulfield, and Caulfield goes in and just strips Celebrini with that move with the puck between his legs and undresses him, goes around him, and undresses Georgiev too with a shot over him, or between the legs, or over the pad. Anyway, nice, gorgeous goal. So we get down to game stats: 33 shots, 26 for Montreal. Hits 39 to 33 for Montreal. Faceoffs 135 to 27 for Montreal. Power plays 0 for 2 for Montreal. They did not. They just looked awful on the power play. Just shoot the puck. It's like they're making one too many passes, trying to look a little too cute. They got to get out of that. Didn't look good, and no power plays for the Sharks last night. Penalty minutes 9 to 5 for the Sharks. Um, Giveaways 23 to 21 for the Sharks. Takeaways 6 to 5 for the Sharks. Block shots 21 and 20, fairly even. And we're not going to get into that now. We're going to get into a couple different topics. It was, an all right game. Good to see Montreal fight back. There were signs in this game I did not like. This game reared up some signs here. Yes, that was a great play that Slab made to set up that goal. However, Slab was showing indications of slacking off just a bit with his skating and physicality. That didn't impress me. So out of the three games, he didn't play bad, but he can play way better than he did last night. Sorry, that wasn't up to where he was playing the other two nights. Those two games, he looked great. He got a little sluggish last night, in my opinion. Needs to keep those feet moving and get a little more physical and use that size. Yes, glad he made that defensive play, but 9 times out of 10, with him just holding that stick with one hand, that doesn't happen. They get by him. So that habit, I seen a lot of that last night again. That's got to stop. I mean, glue his hands to the stick. I'm tired of that. But he did, he's not playing outrageously bad, but I seen warning signs. So line one was excellent last night. Line two played half decent last night too. I loved Beck's performance last night, to tell you the truth, on that second line. And Lonnie seems to have come up with speed too, a little bit, and Newhook. So that the three of them seem to fit very well together. Line three, poor Anderson. That man's definitely hurting. He went down again and went to the dressing room. That something's going. He's definitely got an injury somewhere that he's been playing all season long. We just better hope it doesn't come back to bite us. He did manage to come back to the game. That was great to see, because Josh has played night and day compared to last year. I have to tip my hat off to him 100% this year. Great work ethic, and since he's been put on that penalty kill, he's played great this season. I think they've reinvented Josh Anderson into the type of player he should be. With that said, Galley gives you 110%. I just love his dog fighting to the front of the net, battling, gets knocked down, but battling, causing. Galley plays like Slav needs to play. You know what I mean? When it's in front of the net. Now, there were good indications of Slav here and there. He almost got a tip from the point with one of the shots that came from the defense. He almost got another, one of those. But again, he wasn't showing enough of that last night, of being a menace in front of the net, and he can be. And he wasn't nowhere near physical enough compared to the first, the game. last two games prior to he would play against Ottawa and Carolina. He played much better, so he's got to get back to that and watch the tape because he sure as hell didn't play like no Keith Kachuk or Matthew Kachuk last night. He was a little sluggish. Now, mind you, wasn't outrageously bad, but it's just a warning sign. And Dvorak had a good game on that line three since we were on it. And then we go down to the fourth line where I thought Heineman and Armia played quite well all night. This was the first game that I'm going to have a knock against Jake Evans. Now, I don't know if it's because of all Rumorville, and I know he's been disheartened because the word is they're nowhere near, and he's trying to make do. It's whether he says he wants to be in Montreal, but if that's the case, he's going to have to do a little bit because there's no way you can give Jake 5 years, and there's no way for 4 million. That's got to get worked out somehow because I think honestly, in my opinion, it should be a 3 year to 4 year deal. Somewhere's in that range, not five, not a chance. So it doesn't look good, and I don't know if that's gotten to him. But last night was the first time I did not notice Jake in the first two periods. That's totally unlike him. And like I said, we really noticed Heineman, who just keeps that physicality and forechecking going and drags the team in with him. I love it. And Armia played a strong game, but it was like we didn't see Jake wake up until somewhere's in the third. He started to show up and play. So I don't know. Hopefully he's got to get out of that funk. I know it's probably the news is probably the worries are probably getting to him a bit. He's got to find a way to get himself out of that because it totally was uncharacteristic of him. And I love Jake, but it's looking like a sad situation where the rumors are they're thinking of they're trying to package him in Armia. I'd hate to see both of those two gone. That's just my opinion because I think if we could get our Army, who says he wants to stay as well, we could get Army, and even Savard saying he wants to stay, but Savard did do a 1 year contract, and I think if he's willing to do that, go for it. um, with Jake and Army, I'd love to see them give again. You go to 2 years for Armia at a lesser cost than what his last contract was. It's got to come down, so there's got to be some give and take. If that's what, because I hate to see that line broken. And for Evans, it's evident they're like the length of the contract he wants and the dollars he wants is way up there, and he's going to have to make his agent come down to earth if he truly means what he says that he wants to play in Montreal. There's guys that have done it elsewhere, like Boston's always a good example. They've had a few players do that in the past that come down because they want to stick to their team. If you want to stick to the club, because Jake's good. You can't have him being at 34 years old. He won't be the player he was. So, to me, love to see them both signed. But to me, it's got to be a 3 to 4 year contract for Jake, and it's got to be lower than what he's thinking. He's got to be willing to sacrifice. If he's not, then you got to make the deal. Army, I think Army probably would come down. I don't, we haven't heard any news on that. And I think he would probably accept 2 years. You go shorter, way shorter on him, just to see how he makes out. Savard, if he wants to do the 1 year thing, I got no problem with that. Now, that's the end of that. That's the end of those possible trade situations. Does look like Dvorak is on his way out. He had a meeting with Kent Hughes this week, so, and I don't think they'll sends the unfortunate. He wants to stay from what he said in his question, when he was questioned. So, but it looks like I don't think unless he's willing to drop way down in pay. Um, it doesn't look like that. That's probably a short first guy to go. I hate to say, but he definitely didn't live up to the expectations when Mark Bergevin brought him in. However, I never thought that was going to go right anyway. But now let's get to something we seen last night in the third period We seen punishment of Jackeye because of his mistake. That third goal was on him. That pissed me right the hell off, to be quite frank. I've been in Martin St. Louis' corner. I don't mind you, making guys work for it. But when hear me out, I didn't like that play either. But my goodness, I seen or 3 to 4 defensemen making mistakes. Matheson made tons of mistakes. He actually drove me crazy last night. Now, I do get that Matheson plays first lines a lot of times. So he's got better competition against him, but it's no excuse. And if Martin St. Louis is going to um, put expectations on his team, he's got to do it fairly. And so Matheson, to me, had the majority of mistakes made, but he was making mistakes left, right, and center, standing around, and when he could have cleared the puck and moved the puck much quicker, thinking he was Superman, and you get Celebrini taking it right off his stick because he's standing there. These are bonehead plays, and I like Mike Matheson. He is their best defenseman with experience, but he played horrible last night. A lot of bad plays, and you're going to tell me one play by Jack Eye and you sit him for a period. That's unfair. I seen Struble makes a few mistakes. I seen Hudson make a couple mistakes. I seen they like I say, here we go. Carrier made a few mistakes, not as visible as the rest. But like I say, between and Savard made some mistakes. His speed is what scares me because on several situations, it's like Jack Eye tries to for that pairing tries to give them a little bit of offense, and then, but if the puck gets past him, Savard is not going to get there to cover him because he just doesn't have the foot speed. So that's concerning. But for Martin St. Louis, that was the biggest BS statement he made in post game when he was questioned by the reporters. That was a bunch of BS. Oh, I just didn't want to see him because he sat too long on the bench. Oh, dude, what? We've had clowns on this team play poorly, and you have played them. Now, it was nice to see in the last few, before the Four Nations thing, that you started putting some emphasis on Lonnie and Dach and Slavkovsky, making them work for it. That's fine, but uh, Newhook has never been hauled out for his poor performances. Don't know what that is. So, can we get out of teachers got favorites? That's my only thing there. I just don't like it. I think it was a bunch of BS, and I think it's unfair to sit a guy like that. Sent the wrong message, and it almost. I don't care what they say. They say, "Oh, there's no issue." Well, I totally disagree, and I like Marty St. Louis and what he's, excuse me, been doing and expecting, getting a little tougher, but that was uncalled for. So, unfortunately, he himself makes it look like there's a grudge, and that's I'm just saying. Probably could very well not be, but I'm sorry, it's a little too convenient that it's Jack Eye gets punished for his mistakes. Well, and again, I like Matheson, but he can run around and make 20 mistakes, and he's not called upon on it. That's BS. Marty, love ya. And then, of course, I'm never. I'm not in that gang that wants Marty gone. I like what Marty's doing, but when he has makes some dumb decisions, just the same thing. Starting goaltender. This was the easiest team in the league. And what are you going to do? Keep sitting Dobish now? That would have been a perfect game to throw him in. What, 3 games back and you're giving Monty the mall? Come on, man. If you're going to do that to the kid who shows great talent, send him back to Laval and bring up Primo. You might as well, just so that you don't waste the kid, because he's actually got a future. So you might as well let him get some ice time under his blades, because and you can let Primo walk on after the season because he's not going to live up to nothing. And then you can let Monty play all the games if that's what your intention is to do, because there's just that those are the spots where I see inexperience and a bit of questionable decision making when it comes to certain players. He seems to, in my opinion, again, and I try to get myself off it, but when I see a guy makes 20 mistakes in a game, has no punishment, and a guy makes one mistake, and you sit him for the whole period, that doesn't wash, Marty. That doesn't wash. Sorry, and I love you, but that doesn't wash. You need to send a clear message, even straight across the board, expectation wise, fair. Simple as that. And that's what I'm calling you out on. I'm calling you out on it. So I'm not going to be like one of these hussies just because we won three straight games. That, oh, it's all is good. Because I'm going to tell you, last night's game was a warning sign. Montreal did not play very well last night compared to all three games. We've seen a lot of signs of old habits coming back. We got lucky to pull that victory off. Thank God. Thank God Suzuki was hot. Thank God Caulfield just looked like Superman in that winner. And Monty played a strong game. I grant you that. But you cannot waste this kid goaltender who does have a future where we know Primo doesn't. He's already had how many years and it hasn't worked out. But you might as well bring him up and just let Dobish play the games in Laval so he can have a good experience down there if that's is what you're going to do. And you can let Monty play all the games if you choose to do that and let Primo sit the rest of the season. You might as well because it looks like you're just going with Monty. So I just question there's some inexperienced decisions being made behind that bench. And that's all I say. And no, to you guys that want to overreact, no, it doesn't mean it's a witch hunt and it's Marty's head. We know he's got a lot to learn. But this favoritism thing, I try not to buy into that. And people complain about it. That wasn't a good picture last night, Marty, because it definitely makes anyone think there's something to it, isn't there? When Alex Newhook has had plenty of times, guys like that, and other defensemen, and other players periodically have had bonehead times where the effort wasn't there. One mistake, you sit a guy. That's so unfair. Get um, your preferences out of the way. Your, what do you want to call it, prejudices, and set them aside and act like a professional and do it fairly for your team if you want a good culture. So, with that being said, we know we're getting to the crunch now. Tomorrow's going to be the first. Getting kind of scary. We got Buffalo coming up. Tougher teams now. Montreal cannot play like they did last night because that wasn't a great game. Out of the three games, kid yourself not. That wasn't a great game. And only line one really carried that game. And line four was okay, except for Jake Evans, which was odd. This is the first time I said that all year. Very, very odd. Line three has been great. Line two has been, I like Beck, what he's been showing. So thank you for joining me. You've seen it here first at Center Heights Productions. And I believe we're playing Buffalo Saturday now. I just misplaced my phone so I could look at the dates. And of course, here we go. Found it. I believe we're playing Buffalo Saturday. Sorry. Let me get to that. I believe that's our schedule for the next game. So let's get out of there. And let's get there. And yes, we're in Buffalo uh, Saturday night. So that should be, and we better wake up because you play like you did with San Jose here in Montreal. Thank God we broke the trend of them beating us in Montreal all the time, but we should have done much better than that. You've seen it here at Center Ice Productions where the puck drops first. Please hit the likes and subscribe and share it with your friends and family and share it with others. God bless.